the current situation is that we've got both investors, first home buyers, people re-establishing, downsizing. Every part of the market is relatively active here and in the town, and buyers are coming here at the moment from all areas, with Wagga only around 30 minutes away. The surprising thing is that we only have probably 25 to 30% of the sales made in the town here going to people moving up here from Wagga, which is a little surprising. But we've got a strong push from the likes of Sydney and Canberra. And again, it's not only first home buyers and relocators, but investors as well.
Okay. What do you think is the major draw card for people? We'll leave people relocating from Wagga aside, but for country changes, those people wanting a tree change, what do you think are some of the major draw cards that attract them to Coolamon over other areas in the Riverina?
Right. Well, those moving out here from Wagga, the main thrust there is the fact that Wagga now with 66,000 people, they're finding that it's a lot of people are finding that it's just similar to living in a major city like Sydney or Goulburn, Canberra, whatever. So they're sick of the traffic and all the issues that go with close urbanisation. So they're coming out here for a quieter lifestyle and remaining only 30 minutes from their specialists, their movie theatres, etc. So they're more than happy with the idea of coming out here. The other main attraction for people coming from elsewhere, the likes of Canberra and Sydney, is simply the fact that they can come to the likes of Coolamon and replace a home that they may have sold for $500,000, maybe $1 million, and for half that money buy a more than comfortable home similar to what they've left. And then be only 30 minutes again from the likes of Wagga, where they can utilise train services or aerodromes and that sort of thing. Yeah,
you've obviously got the Wagga Wagga Airport and I guess the university and a lot of other facilities that a regional centre provides. It is Australia's largest inland city, as they like to promote. So it does have a lot of, sorry, a bit windy here. It does have a lot of facilities on that front. So if someone's looking to relocate to Coolamon, what are the types of properties that you have on offer there?
Right, the majority of properties in Coolamon are going to be the 3 to 4 bedroom timber or brick homes. But of course, you've got, as well as that, you've got properties on acreage, you've got broad acre farms, you've got 1, 2, probably 3 or 4 now, 5 acre subdivisions in and around Coolamon at the moment, which is attracting a lot of people wanting that little bit of extra space for the kids to have a pony or ride the motorbikes and that type of thing. But that's proving very popular because, again, they can come to Coolamon and buy a 5 acre allotment, but basically the same as they're buying a 1/4 acre block on the outskirts of Wagga. Okay. And do those properties have access to, are they already, have they got town water and electricity already hooked up? Yes, Letitia, all these blocks are fully serviced with natural gas, with sewerage, with power, etc. And of course, we've got NBN service here too. So there's nothing that they're wanting in the way of services here. Oh, wow. That's actually really impressive because quite often those larger blocks don't come with all of those facilities already hooked up. So that would be a major draw card, I can imagine, for people wanting that easier build. So also on the building front, if we're talking about these larger properties, do you do house and land packages, or are there enough local builders to facilitate the kind of need or service the type of need that's coming through from people wanting to relocate? Yep. Well, on both in actual fact, we've got the major builders that are operating out of Wagga offering house and land packages, but also local builders here are more than active. We've got one local builder, for example, who's already has 7 order jobs for 2020 at this stage. So local builders are certainly to the forefront when it comes to building here in Coolamon.
Okay. So tell me about if someone's looking to enter at a lower price point and perhaps are happy to do renovations or whatnot themselves, what kind of houses are available in that space and what price point are we talking about?
Right. In the last year or so, the cheaper homes have disappeared largely, and you've got an entry level now in Coolamon in excess of 200,000 for anything that's reasonably sound. We've had the odd property which is sold for less than that, but they've basically been a knockdown land only type situation. But now the entry level in the town is into the 200s and probably around the 220, 230 mark for a renovator. And we're talking timber, brick, timber and fibro and the like, 2 to 3 bedrooms. But the big advantage with those properties is that in the main, they're walking distance to the main street. So that's an appealing situation, and they're sitting on blocks of land which, if vacant, would be worth in excess of $100,000 now.
Mm-hmm. So from an investment side of things, whether or not people are wanting to invest to rent out or long-term live in it themselves and do that renovation, there's that opportunity for gains in that respect.
My word, because properties that are renting, you're buying for in the market for 260, 270, are renting out for in excess of 300. So you've now got an excellent return. You've got properties selling for 250, 260 that are renting for up to $350 a week.
Wow. Okay. So on that property, on that rental subject, is it difficult to get rentals? So if people are relocating, they want to get a feel of the area before they buy, or maybe they're just not in a position to buy straight away. What's it going to be like? What's your word of advice for someone who is wanting to look into that rental market? Are there properties available?
And we've always got a shortage of rental properties in Coolamon. We suffer from that quite a bit because the reality is that most people here are coming to buy. We don't have a huge number of rentals available at any one time. So it's always wise to make your move if you're looking for a rental well in advance. Give us advance notice and we can do the best we can to provide something. But as I say, with the rentals that they are paying in the area of $350 a week, in many cases they prefer to just buy outright.
Yeah. But if people are wanting to rent, it's a matter of getting in contact with you and maybe going on a bit of a list to keep an eye out for them.
My word, we've always got a list available of properties, and we have got a waiting list at all times for rental properties. Okay.
So in terms of, so we've talked about some of those lifestyle blocks, those 5 acres, the half acres, and the town blocks. What if someone's looking for a larger property, maybe 50 acres upwards, maybe someone who's looking for a bit more space, potentially interested in doing a bit of a hobby farm themselves?
Right. Yeah, well, we do cater for those sort of buyers. We sell broadacre properties. We have a rural division which specialises in broadacres. We recently sold property in Ganmain, for example. That was a smaller property of 87 acres, sold to people from interstate. But at any time, we've usually got broadacre properties available, anything from 100 acres through to a couple of thousand.
So what words of advice would you offer people who are looking to relocate and trying to decide which part of the Riverina they might want to make their tree change to? But if you were to give advice specifically about moving to Coolamon and purchasing or renting property in your region, what would your word of advice be?
Well, we can't speak highly enough of Coolamon because Coolamon has a very active, proactive council, and the town is growing at a sensible and moderate rate, largely guided by the local council. But the big advantage with Coolamon, of course, is the fact that, as you said earlier, being only 30 minutes north of Wagga and 25 odd minutes from the university, we've got a lot to offer. We've got the town where we've got our hospital, we've got our doctors, we've got our schools, etc. We've got transport in and out of Wagga on a daily basis. And the town in the last 2 to 3 years has gone from having a handful of empty shops that we've now got people fighting to get into those buildings. And in fact, we've got, since the advent of the local cheese factory, we've had a lot of people come to the town for the first time, and then upon being impressed by what is a beautifully maintained main street, they then start to think about the idea of perhaps moving here. So we've had, I think, up to about 9 new businesses open in the town in the last 12 to 18 months. And that's obviously a great spur to the economy of the town. But every weekend now in particular, we've got the main street absolutely jam-packed with cars. You won't get a car space, whereas a few years ago, there were car spaces to be had, but not anymore. It's a very active little town, and as I say, it's so well located in regard to the big brother of Wagga.
And I think it says a lot for, as you said, the council, but also the community, that even through a drought, a community can thrive like that. The fact that businesses are open, there's competition for retail spots when brick and mortar retail shop fronts are shutting down in so many towns, including the cities. It's not just regional communities. I think it speaks a lot for Coolamon. We should also clarify that Coolamon Shire has a number of towns and villages. So can you walk us through some of the other little areas that sit within Coolamon Shire?
Thanks, Letitia. Yes, one of the interesting aspects of the growth in Coolamon in the last couple of years has seen quite a lot of activity taking place now in Ganmain, for example, which is only 15 k's from Coolamon, where it was fairly dormant 2-3 years ago. Now with the house prices on the rise in Coolamon, the buyer with a limited budget is now looking at going to Ganmain, where you've got fully serviced blocks again, and the majority of blocks in Ganmain being half acre, and again, 95% of them have rear lane access as well. They provide a very good incentive, because you've got a situation there where between $150,000 and $200,000 buys you a very comfortable 3-bedroom home.
And they're comfortable homes, and they're beautiful, and they're generally, the older ones are usually really well made, from my experience. But obviously then you've got the opportunity to go into that new build facility if that's into that new build space, if that's something that's of a priority. But I think what's really lovely is that you've got all these other, you've got Ardlethan, now you're going to test me, Mara, and another M1. What's the other M village? You've
got Matong.
Matong.
And you've also, yes, you've got those, all those towns, but even at Ardlethan, you've got an incentive happening there too, because the tin mine that was sitting idle for a number of years is now employing people again, and they're looking to further that and re-establish the tin mining operation at Ardlethan, which will be a good injection of funds into that town in the near future as well. So the whole Shire is booming at the moment.
Also, I wonder if I could actually, let me see, before I share my screen, let me see if I can actually bring this map up. No, it's not going to let me. Oh, hold on. No, it's not going to let me. But basically, so we've explained that sort of Coolamon is about 450, just over 450 from Sydney and Melbourne. So it's nicely in the middle there. You've got Wagga Wagga 20 to 30 minutes down the road, depending who you talk to and how they're driving. But you've also got a lot of other regional communities close by that are sort of feeders, and you've got the Canola Trail, which a number of other Riverina towns are part of. So it's really fun as a local to be able to drop into all these other regional communities like Temora, Junee, and I guess be a tourist in your own home. And so many people in the Riverina are actually starting to be tourists within their own towns and rediscovering what's in their own backyard. And one thing for people who haven't been to the Riverina, it's one of the most amazing places in Australia, I think, because it's so diverse. You've got the snowy valleys where, you know, beautiful mountains and snow, and, you know, the valleys on your doorstep. Then you've got the opposite end of that, the Hay Plains, Griffith, and then you've got places like Coolamon and Temora, and it's completely different landscapes again, and such lovely communities. And that's what Country Change is all about, really helping people, I guess, figure out the kind of community they want to belong to. From your perspective as a local and talking to so many people who come in, what would you describe is so special about the Coolamon community?
Well, one of the lovely things about the Coolamon community and the others in the Shire is the fact that you can be as out there and active within the community as you want to be, or you can be as private and as you want to be as well. No one's going to be too perturbed by that. Everyone here gets along. The support in the town for each other is incredible, and I've been a first-hand recipient of that in the past. And most people that come here are quite amazed by the friendliness of the towns in the Shire. And we regularly have people coming in here and telling us. And the thing is that you'll find that the towns within the Shire are always well kept. They're spotlessly clean. We don't have graffiti on our buildings. We have a very, very low to zero crime rate. And there's really nothing to dislike about the Riverina.
One thing that a lot of people have commented to me about it who've moved into the Coolamon region is, yes, it's very friendly. People always sort of make a point of saying hello, where are you from, asking questions and connecting you into that community, which is really important, I think, to feel connected and lessen the impact of a move, because let's be honest, any move, no matter if it's on one side of Sydney to the other, has an impact on your life and your immediate neighbours and community. But the other bit of feedback that everyone gives is just how beautifully kept the whole Shire is, not just Coolamon, but all of the Shire towns. The parks are immaculate. And just there's so much love that's put into that council puts in on a regular basis to these areas. And I think you can tell a lot about a town and a community and the people in it when you've got landscapes like that. So from a local perspective and a real estate professional perspective, is there anything else that you wanted to share that might, I guess, add value to people who are considering a country change to Coolamon?
Well, I think anyone who's contemplating a move to a country town could do a lot worse than any of the towns in the Shire, but particularly Coolamon, because anyone who wants a job will always get a job here. You've got the access to so many opportunities, not only work-wise but recreation-wise, because not a weekend goes by that there's not something of interest to a family to do here. And I think given the climate, whilst it might be a bit warm at the moment, in fact it is very warm at the moment.
Warm everywhere.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, everyone, recreation-wise, if there's anything that you could want, I mean, whether it be fishing, flying, whatever. But we've all got a very happy community here, and as you rightly said, everyone here is there to help. And really speaking, with the prices of property here, when you compare them with the likes of Sydney, Canberra, or Melbourne, there's no reason why you wouldn't want to live here.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a really, really special town. So for anyone interested in making a country change to Coolamon and speaking to Errol, he's Errol Sutherland at Ray White Coolamon. Just give that a bit of a Google, have a look at some of the properties, connect with him on email or through the general normal phone. And if you want any support and have any questions in general about making a country change, you can contact our country change team via the contacts page on countrychange.com.au. So thank you so much, Errol, for joining us. It's really lovely that so many community members give us their time and share their advice and their personal experiences of their community. So thank you so much again.
Thanks for having me, Letitia.
Have a great night. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye now. Bye-bye.